Remco, first question is for you. Because you're a legend, people recognize you. When we had our office camera live view, you were there. People were like, "Is that Remco? Is that Remco walking out there?" So, because you worked on Deliver Us the Moon, it was such a big part of the development of that one. How different was Deliver Us Mars in the scale of programming tasks and making the game for you, as a person who has experience with Deliver Us the Moon?
So of course, Deliver Us the Moon for us was a real orientation project. So that we did a lot of things that we never done before. We were actually like learning how to make a game, and releasing it for the first time. So there's a lot of things that we had to like discover and like find out and research and whatever. For Deliver Us Mars, we already knew a lot. We actually made plans, made sure that we did it the smart way and learned from our mistakes during Deliver Us the Moon. But we also tried a lot of new things. For example, the motion captures and more cinematics and the facial animations. So there was a lot of research and time going in that. Besides that, there's a lot of logic that we already made in Deliver Us the Moon. So we brought that over to Mars. That saved us a lot of time, but we also had to spend some time to improve upon those systems because, like I said, we were just figuring out how to make games in the first project, and they weren't perfect right away. So even during the Deliver Us Mars project, we still had to improve upon those systems. It's a lot has been brought over, but a lot of new things and then a lot of new improvements have been made as well.
Nice. This is great. A quick follow-up question. So, did you utilize any of Deliver Us the Moon, not the mood? Oh, it's still early for me. Deliver Us the Moon code and making of Deliver Us Mars. So, did you start things from scratch?
So we did bring over a lot of things. So for example, the lunar rover riding, that already worked pretty well in Deliver Us the Moon. So we didn't have to do a lot to improve upon it. Most improvements were visually, I think, a lot of things were brought over. It's but it has been like I said before, a lot of those systems have been improved.
Awesome. Daphne, I'm going to switch to you. You're the animator and you worked on animating so many things in the game. Some of them we cannot quite mention for the sake of spoilers. Yes, we still have things we cannot talk about, especially right before the games come out. For instance, this beautiful Ayla that we see on screen right now, that's Daphne's work and something that she should be quite proud of. However, you also animated main characters, and which of the main characters were your favorite to animate in Deliver Us Mars and why?
Ooh, that is a very hard question actually, but I could go for the simple answer and say Catty, since Catty is the character that I worked the most on, but I'm gonna go for the hard answer, the more difficult one. And I must say that it is quite hard to choose, since while there are a lot of custom animations in the game, the majority of it is made by motion capture. And the actors did a phenomenal job bringing the characters to life, so I wouldn't want to take credit for that. But if I had to choose characters, that would be Sarah and Isaac, since their characters had a lot of hiccups and very interesting glitches occasionally. So I would be going through the materials and just like, oh, this scene is really good, and getting into the scene, feeling the moment, and then suddenly one of the characters would turn into a helicopter and just fly out of the scene. So, and I would be like, yes, this is why I'm doing it.
So this is answering the question: Can bless you, Remco? Can AI and can motion capture completely eliminate animators? No, it cannot. But huge. If Centroid are watching us right now, hello to you from our entire team. They're our partners that helped us create motion capture and performance capture. Thank you, Remco. I was about to ask you to do that because people in chat ask how squishy is the ace thing on the desk. On the scale from 1 to 10, Daphne, how squishy is it, would you say?
I'm just gonna take it like this. It is very squishy.
So a solid 8?
Solid 8, yeah.
Going back to Remco. Remco, without spoiling the game, what was the most challenging task for you in the making of Deliver Us Mars as a programmer? Something that, when you've accomplished it, when you've done it, you're like, phew, okay, I'm done, proud of myself.
Yeah. I think the level loading system. We changed and added a lot of new things to the game and the levels compared to Deliver's Moon, and because the levels were bigger and sometimes smaller, and there was a lot of inconsistency, that had an effect on how the levels were loaded, and we tried to make them more efficiently, and of course there's checkpoints and everything, things need to be checked and written from save game files and stuff. So
Siri answered.
Siri is having a hard time out there.
So yeah, there's been a lot and long during the whole process. There's been a lot of development on that side. So I think that would be one of the most complicated and work-intensive part of the game.
Daphne, what would you say is the most difficult part of human body to animate in a video game?
Oh, I think that would be the face or the hands. Because as you look at character behavior and also just people in general, when people talk, you look at the facial expression and the hands, because they both show the emotions, the way a person talks. And if you don't get those quite right, then you will immediately think something's off, and you'll get that uncanny valley just going down there.
Right. So I think you had this amazing glove that you used to also animate hands, right? That you wore there. Was it doing just all the door, but did you have to correct something yourself as well afterwards?
I did have to do some corrections because the hands, while they do register, sometimes the thumb position will feel off, and you'll just see the hands, and it's just not the right directions.
And I think they also miss the last finger bones, right?
Yeah.
So she still has to add that to it.
Oh, I love it. I love how much you know of each other's work as well too. Is there in the development of Deliver Us Mars, was there a lot of communication between you two? Daphne, you as the animation department, and Remco, you as the programming department.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I actually I was we both worked a lot on it, but I was largely responsible for the technical implementations and gameplay connection between animations. So yeah, there's been a lot of communication on that.
Nice. Since we were talking about parts of the body that are hard to animate, Remco, this is the question that I want to ask you. And I know you already kind of gave me an answer ahead of time, but I want to hear if you've changed it or not. So I know you love my questions. I come up with weird questions sometimes. So if Deliver Us Mars was imagined as a living person,
yes.
Thank you for the follow, by the way. It was imagined as living person. Which part of the body or the personality of the living person would the code be? Would it be the brain, the heart, the soul, or?
Yeah. So I would have to go for the brain.
Brain. Okay.
specifically, I'm not really sure which part of the brain is responsible for it, but the logical reasoning, like the part that can make conclusions based on logic, that would be the code, because the code is very black and white. So it either does it or it doesn't do it. Like everything is very defined. So it's very based on logic. So there's no emotion, there's no heart, there's no soul. I mean, of course, you could, like the way it is designed, the code and the systems, you could view it in different ways, I think. But no, I would go for the logical reasoning part of the brain.
I love it. This is not the answer that you gave me yesterday. Did we want to tell chat the answer that you gave me yesterday?
Yes.
Go ahead. No, you do it.
Okay, cool. So my first answer was the little pinky toe on your foot, because you keep hitting it everywhere and it hurts like hell. So yeah.
I love that one. It made me laugh. I have two questions, quick questions. We don't have much time left because we have to fit other people in. First question is for you, Daphne. Since you did an absolutely fantastic job in animating Ayla, the drone companion, Kathy's drone companion in Deliver Us Mars, what would you say is she like? What's her personality? How would you describe her?
So that's actually a fun story. When I first started working here, like on my first week already, they were finding something like, what can we get her to do? And in this week, just something to work with. And they gave me Ayla, like the rig and the skeleton and the mesh. And I started working with it, experimenting. And then I was wondering, but what is her personality like? So I started asking around to the people at the office, and they were like, yeah, she's a bit more feminine than Ace, but she's also very playful and curious, and she's just a very energetic Ace unit in general. So I tried to implement that in the animations, and I've been working on that for 1 or 2 weeks. And the animations I made at that time are still in the game. So that is very nice to look back on.
Thank you so very much. Before we switch to the next sequence, is there anything you want to say to people watching and people playing Deliver Us Mars? Today is actually the day. Matters.
Well, there's one thing. We still don't have an Ayla plushie. Or maybe I will make one myself. I can also try it.
I'm gonna
Daphne,
say
anything from you?
Yes, thank you all for watching the stream. I hope you guys enjoy, and I hope you enjoy the game itself even more.
Yes.
The people here put a lot of love in it, and I hope it will show.